Greetings, divine. Greetings. Much love to you. And divine greetings as we are proceeding with this Pranic reading in the Pranic World book. As we take another look into these Pranic pages, wisdom of the ages, reading from Cristiana Eltrayan, one of the modern day sages. Check out the first chapters if you haven't yet discovered. They're in the Pranic Pages playlist and yet to be uncovered. Much love to you, my friend. This is Jerome Shaw, host of the Open Palm Podcast, motivator, meditator. And we're going to get into this informal reading as we touch every now and then on a few highlights. And this is chapter 3, Between You, Me, and the Tree, which is called Pranic Paths. So, Pranic, hey there, Pranic diversity. How to tap into the pranic field. As I was writing about pranic detox methods in the previous chapter, we have to take care of each of our systems: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, to be able to maintain the pranic levels high. And I was sharing that there is no universal recipe for everyone. Each one has his own unique blueprint and patterns. There are, however, a few common guidelines that can help one maintain his high pranic levels while dealing with the daily rhythm. Let's get into it. As I spent my last few years researching and interviewing people that are nourished by prana, also creating the Pranic Consciousness Summit online that contains all of these interviews, I had the opportunity to dive deeper into each one's way of living, pranic methods, and also the ups and downs of their journey. Whew. There's always ups and downs, right? What goes around comes around. To be able to have a close conversation with each one of these pranic teachers and ask them about revelations and setbacks on their pranic journeys has been an honor and a revelation to me as well. We have immortalized outstanding talks with these paradigm shifters like Olga Podorovskaya, Jasmuheen Mantakchia, Nassim Haramein, Elitam Elamin, and many others. And to the date of this writing, we have more than 20 interviews and still continuing to create new ones. Hallelujah. This all has helped me understand and demonstrate again that there's no one unique recipe to pranic living, and that we all have our distinct blueprint and steps on this journey. For example, some pranic people have attained this state through meditation and lifestyle for many years, then followed by a process that reminded their cells how to use light for nourishment. Now think about that. How, as we are seekers and finders, sometimes the cells need a reminder that we can be nourished by light, that there is more to the sight, that we can reignite and shine bright, and that this like energy attracts like. They have been able to then preserve that initiation and this way of nourishment because of their commitment to being a pure channel for light, and because of their lifestyle that has preserved that state. So it is not the ability, not a new form of agility, but it is a lifestyle that preserves and allows us to better serve. This was the case for Jasmuheen, Elitam Elamin, Olga Podoroskaya, and many others. To some, it has been slightly different. They started with meditation for many years. Then they got into the verve of study and research, keeping themselves tuned into higher channels of knowledge. This is the knowledge they don't teach you in college. While also spending lots of time in silence, in nature. Who would have thought? This has increased their frequency and kept them into a state of not needing physical food, because their heightened state of consciousness plus good mental nourishment through study plus nature have maintained high levels of prana in their bodies. This is the case with Nassim Haramein, Pascal Martelli, Michael Werner, and others. So it's all about the combination of factors that works for a certain individual. So realizing that in order to hold, maintain, and sustain a vibration, sometimes it's not one thing, but a whole combination, right? A whole collaboration, right? To have that sensation. So we're finding more appreciation. For others, it's been about the health issues. They had an illness to resolve, and they started decreasing the amount of food, then did a process, and then maintained the pranic state through their daily practice. So for some people, they come into this lifestyle or style of living through inspiration. Others through desperation, right? There might have been an illness that made them fall into stillness to really feel this, right? Because a lot of the times when things don't add up, it's best to subtract, realizing the energy we'll put out is what always comes back. This was the case of Henry Monfort, Martin Brunko, and others, who moved from the business system to the pranic system effortlessly when the body was ready. And the body will let you know. That's for sure. Again, a different, more mental way of attaining that state that was maybe more suited to their construction. Others just transitioned smoothly into that state through changing their attitude about life. Like Erica Whithun has had the experience of not feeling hungry for a long time, and therefore she has stopped eating regularly because of the lack of this necessity. She, of course, practiced meditation, of course, and other things. But the main key for her was the optimism and general attitude that have raised her vibration to the point of feeling nourished. I love that. You know? Optimism. Having a gratitude attitude. Because they say your attitude will determine your altitude in life. It's something that can rewire, but it can also take you higher, right? when you allow these different neurons and connections to start to fire. I love this. For others, it has been a long conscious emotional healing, combined with the constant listening to the body, such as Gaston Bacchiani, Camila Castillo, and others have worked diligently on their emotional bodies to be able to then transition into a lighter diet based on juices and mostly prana. Yes, they were meditating and living a conscious life, but it was eventually the emotional detox that has helped them shift into this state. And Gaston has even been practicing and winning marathons while on this diet. And I met Gaston when I was in Italy at the Pranic World Festival at the Eden Pranic Center. Gaston is definitely a wonderful being, an amazing soul, and we did an eye-gazing session where we just looked at each other, you know? And he just looked at me in my eyes and he was like, I see you. You know, he could see straight into me. It was like soul to soul, spirit to spirit, consciousness to consciousness, you know, from one being to another, from one seeing through another. It was beautiful. So shout out to Gaston, sharing about the emotions and how the emotions can be like an alchemical potion for healing that is very revealing. So there are no physical limits to how fit and strong you can be in this pranic journey. For others, it was just grace. Being in a state of adoration and trust can also bring that gift. And such was the case of Prahlad, who has received this gift in meditation from who he calls to be a goddess of compassion. He, from there on, did not have the need of eating or drinking, and his body has naturally transmuted denser substances, like urine, turning them into energy. The movie In the Beginning There Was Light has his statements about how this has happened, and medical tests have been made on him to show that this is true. So meditation and grace would be the key for him. Now I want to real quick pause, and I was debating talking about this. I've never talked about this before. But when we're talking about grace and how through the gift of meditation and the goddess of compassion, we could be granted such things, you know, I truly believe that this is possible. You know, I truly believe that things like prayer and to be able to become more aware of what is there through not only being more tuned to the air, but actually to allow another being to broaden your seeing, to broaden your vision, your intuition. When I was in downtown Los Angeles, I went to a Buddhist temple, and I believe it was Buddhist. They had incense sticks that you could light and that you could pray. And I remember going there one day, and this was a closed door temple. Like, they didn't just let anybody in there. It was only specific times on specific days that it was okay for somebody to even enter the temple. Other than that, it was always closed. The door was always shut. There was no way in, right? You weren't going in there. So one of these times I walked over there and I knocked on the door, and, you know, somebody answered the door, and at first they didn't speak English. I think they went and got somebody who spoke English or who could translate. And I just asked if I could come inside and pray. And I remember going in there that day, and I lit one of the incense sticks and I placed it on the altar next to the statue of, there was some god or goddess there. And I remember just praying and asking that hunger be taken away. And I prayed. And this is what I did right before I went into my first Pranic retreat. That was back in January 2020. And for 2 weeks during that retreat, I didn't drink and I didn't eat. And it carried me through. And I truly feel like I was blessed by something, either a god or a goddess. Something blessed me, you know? Because it was like the hunger was taken from me. The thirst was taken from me. And it was like I was out there in the elements, just out there. And it was only when I went back that I started to feel like I got off track. And when I went back to consuming, back to eating, I felt that energy that was so high start depleting. And I felt as though I had given away a gift. I felt as though I had already had this huge shift, but that by taking it for granted, I was causing a rift between me and the divine. Those are just my thoughts as I analyze that time. But, you know, you make of it what you will. As Zenaida Baranovna from Russia has had a similar experience through prayer, herself being connected with Christic guidance, I am tempted to compare these above keys to pranic life to the types of yoga in which also grace, knowledge, adoration, and diligent self-conscious work play an important role in aligning to a blissful state. So as you see, each one receives this gift in a different way, according to his own blueprint. Trying to apply what another has done might be helpful, but eventually you have to find your own combination of ingredients that would naturally help you tap into a lighter pranic diet. Beautiful. Beautiful. How to choose your pranic path. Throughout the history, there have been many saints and sages who have been nourished by energy light prana. From the reports on Paracelsus, Zalmoxis, and others who have had this gift hundreds of years ago, to the Hindu yogis nourished by grace, Giri Bala, which I read in the autobiography of a yogi. You'll see there's a chapter in Paramahansa Yogananda's book. The chapter is called The Woman Who Never Eats, I believe. Talks about Giri Bala. Read that chapter. It's a good one. To the nowadays increasing number of people reporting to have had this state, it is obvious that this phenomenon no longer to be ignored. The interesting part, however, is that this path is becoming common amongst the laymen as well. I remember when I was in a group of monks and nuns from Myanmar, they used to call us lay people. All of us were lay people. You know, the one in the robes, the monks and nuns, they were monks and nuns, but the rest of the world, us, we were lay people. So the lay people got to meditate with, you know, the meditators. That was an honor. As we have reports of physicists like Nassim Haramein or Pascal Martelli, doctors and bankers like Michael Werner and Henry Montfort, that have all been in this state for an extended period of time, even years, while performing their daily activities. And also, lots and lots of people that are embracing this lifestyle as it is also becoming a trend. And it's interesting because, as it says, while performing their daily activities, to be in this state, this pranic living state, or this state of pranic nourishment, while doing the things that people do, on the daily. I remember Eltrayan was saying that that's when you really know that the prana and the energy is nourishing and flourishing within your vessel, is when you're no longer having to wrestle with the daily tasks, right? When you're able to do things like cut the grass, or you're able to do things like work outside, or do anything that might have before been strenuous or tenuous to your, or taxing, right? Now something that used to be taxing is sort of relaxing, right? Because the energy within you has grown, allowing itself to be known. But beyond the trend and the glitter of it, one must make sure of choosing the right path towards this state, as the roads are many. Aren't they? There are several pranic teachers now that offer various pranic processes or initiations. Some of them are very successful, others are just beginning. But ultimately, the proof of success on this journey is how many people are able to be more balanced, healthy, and conscious after the pranic process. This is a big thing. When we talk about reintegration after the pranic initiation, going back and, having that be the vibration that continues, and having the light shine within you, no matter the location or the venue, right? Letting the light be on the menu, right? This is what we're talking about. Not just what you do when you're there, but how you can continue to be aware. Not just what you do in the presence, but how you allow that to be your essence. How centered and balanced one is after he gets home and starts picking up their normal day-to-day life is the big thing. How much compassion, kindness, and awareness is flowing out of them in their daily tasks. And primarily, how healthy is their body after their food intake has decreased? And has it? Pranism is a form of yoga. In this respect, we feel called to present some insights on how to choose the right path towards more pranic consciousness, as living on prana and living in pranic consciousness are ultimately a form of yoga. As in yoga, meaning union with the divine essence, yog, and therefore the sacredness of this path goes way beyond doing a process or having an intermittent fasting time, and goes deeper into becoming a lifestyle and a spiritual path. Like any other spiritual path, the methods and teachers you choose must be adapted to your typology. For those with a strong mind-body connection and a mental-oriented being, the mind-body programming works best, and it can give quick results. I've definitely felt that the mind reprogramming was essential, for me as well. Affirmations and meditations and contemplations. These were the things that allowed me to see more confirmation outside and to tune my radio station inside. Programming the cells into understanding that light is nourishment is tremendously helpful, I would agree, as they have learned the contrary through centuries and centuries of programming. We have to understand, right? We have to understand that this is centuries of programming that we are under, Centuries of programming, centuries of eating, centuries of lack, centuries of needing, Centuries of scarcity, centuries, right? Eons and eons of thinking that we are not enough, that we don't have enough, that we need more, and that we need something external to be able to soar. Centuries where many people have not explored the inner world and letting that energy unfurl, opening up to reveal the inner pearl, you know? Helping the body relearn how to be energized via inner and natural elements is one of the greatest sciences of this biocomputer that we call the physical body. And some have succeeded by setting their minds to that. For those that are more inclined to an artistic, airy-fairy nature, the mind programming might not be enough, as they are not by their nature a strong mental structure. Therefore, what might work for them is opening to more love and compassion in the form of helping others, working with babies, selfless service in general, and working with the universal energy into the heart chakra and physical cells. Several meditations have been posted, and they all begin with this practice. Also, couple love and tantra might work for them, but awareness and centering are necessary on that path, as it does come with ups and downs. And I used to have one of my partners around, and she was of that nature where she lived on love, you know? She thrived on love, she vibed on love, you know? And even when we met, she arrived on love, you know? So, yeah, there's different strokes for different folks. Some people need more mental, some people need more spiritual, some people more emotional. It's really just to each his own that this energy is shown. Also, couple love and tantra might work. Okay. For the ones that are inclined towards solitude and deep spiritual practices, spending time in nature and working with sound and mantras as well as sun gazing, powerful practice, might be the best options, as it suits their character to go deeper into a practice while inclined to stay isolated. Sometimes, though, changing the habits and opening up to more like-minded social interaction might be the very key to their deepening into pranic consciousness. But whenever one is ready. And I like that, because I do feel like there's something to be said about not always avoiding other people, but actually enjoying other people. I find I'm more inclined to be around others while I'm fasting or while I'm within pranic living, you know? That energy of others is actually giving to me, you know? That is actually nourishing me and encouraging me to continue. So letting the light shine within you when you're around others, that can be another form of nutrition, another form of nourishment, another form of food. To have someone that can elevate your mood, right? A nourishing conversation, that flourishing vibration. So don't be afraid to have social interaction. It can also bring a form of satisfaction, you know? Those inclined to profound divine connection in prayer are maybe helped by choosing a deity and communing with her up to the point where she transfers her grace onto them. That's definitely what I felt like happened to me that one time before I, gave up the gift in that moment. But I decided to shift in that moment when that energy lift in that moment. This has been the case of Pralajani and Giribala. Their social and religious education, as well as their background, is naturally inclined towards this path. So as they say, don't be afraid to ask, right? Ask and you shall receive. Those more inclined to physical sports and movement, taking on a good exercise practice, combined with consciously following how the energy moves and circulates, are very helpful. Also, monitoring the diet and the necessities of the body in terms of fuel and rest are added to this. Treating the body like a temple. Why not, right? Choosing the right body care products as well as the right clothing and fabric can be of great help in how prana flows through the body and is used as nourishment. So as you see, there are so many paths and methods, and while they can all be combined into one pranic consciousness process, they can also be practiced individually, according to your inner structure. The most important thing is not to insist on a method that does not suit you. And always choose what brings you joy. I love that. As ultimately joy and happiness are the best frequencies that align us to prana. And as I have experienced all the methods above, I ultimately came to adapt the everyday practice to what makes my heart sing at the moment. For after all, you own it, right? All we have is this one moment. So I feel like the message in that section, as we take a pause for now, as we take a breath right now, is following your highest joy. Follow your bliss. And just allowing this to be the energy that ultimately shifts your energy and ultimately lifts your energy. Your bliss is one of the best gifts, right? Something that you don't have to resist, right? But something that you would be more inclined to persist and to take time to witness. That's the kind of spiritual fitness. So the thing that brings you joy is the thing that brings you higher, and ultimately the thing that will continue to rewire, letting all those connections in your mind to start to fire before we retire. So keep that spirit. Let yourself hear it. There's no need to fear it. And we'll catch you again, my friend, as we continue, you and me, through chapter 3. Much love, and we'll see you soon.